Hey folks, so every Thursday I hold a trading pub and it's a 2.5 hour long live session to my realistic trader students. And yesterday I held a trading pub and I had a 17-point action plan of things that they really needed to do and also things that they had to avoid over the next week or two. It's currently November the 11th, 2022, and for the next week or two it's going to be really damn choppy. So you really must do/avoid these things. And I will be releasing these 17 points hopefully very damn soon. Right, so point one. Go to BUSD. Now, call me paranoid, but my paranoia has helped me avoid a lot of the big catastrophes. So UST depegging and going to zero, I avoided that. 3ACs blowing up, I avoided that. Terra Luna going bust, I avoided that. There's been so many things that have blown up which I've avoided. Now the reason I've avoided it is because I'm always paranoid, if that makes sense. I'm always, like flipping, getting out of a potential hazard long before it happens. So this morning, when we look at the Tether, I saw the market cap drop. Okay, it's recovered, but I saw this as a big red bar this morning. I then looked at Tether doing this and going, holy moly, something's happening with Tether. Now we will never have perfect data. There's far too, things are moving far too fast. There's far too many variables and too much data that we'll never know the full picture. But what I know enough is that something is going down with Tether. Whether there's an overt thing happening and people are trying to attack that. But either way, what we saw with FTX going bust is everyone flocked into Tether to begin with. And we saw a big, or not just Tether, not flocking to Tether, people were selling up assets, right? That's one of the reasons why crypto has fallen. People are just selling everything into stablecoin. So it's then created a bit of a rally in Tether. I mean, look at that. It went up 20% against the dollar. And now it's crashing. And, somewhat depegged 3% almost. Yeah, 3% depeg. Now, don't forget that when you see, charts of Tether bounded around, you have to be careful what chart they're showing. So this is Tether against the dollar, right? If we have a look at Tether against, let's have a look at Tether against USDC. That will show a completely different picture. So here, look at this. So Tether against USDC has depegged 4%, which shows at the moment people are swapping their their Tether into Circle USDC. Interesting. What about USDT versus, I don't know, DAI, is that one? What's going on over there? Same thing. Okay. It looks like temporarily over the last couple of hours, 4 hours or so, people are swapping, basically getting out of Tether because of FTX's and Alameda researchers' connection to Tether. As I put in the Telegram, we had, FTX basically had 70% of all the outstanding Tether there. So obviously there is some tail risk. So yes, I paid a little bit of a fee converting Tether into Binance USD, but I'm feeling a lot safer, right? I mean, hell, for all we know, this could have done that. And as I've said for a while, I think BUSD is just going to be the strongest one for a while. So 2, sit tight, observe, and don't do anything. Now this is the strategy that I'm personally deploying. One, because of the confidence issues, or not the confidence issues, just what I mentioned, what I started this trading pub off with. But again, when it's very easy, and I've done this in the past, where market capitulation kicks off, you miss the first part of the move and go, oh my god, I'm missing out. And you basically start shorting at the bottom of big red candles, only for natural pullbacks to occur. It rips your face off, you get liquidated, or your tiny shorts get whipsawed out of the market, and you're like, let's do it again. and the same thing happens again. Same thing has happened again, and then the market dumps. And you'll be in the situation where the market has done exactly what you thought it would do. You even try to short it, but you still end up losing money despite the market doing exactly what you thought it was going to do. Again, goes back to execution error. And execution error encompasses a lot of things. It's position size, it's timing, it's doing it on the right market time frame. So for me, I think for most people, just sit tight, observe, don't do anything. 3. Now I may have to revise these, but yeah, I would wait for sub $1,000 Ether, sub $14,000 Bitcoin, and I may have to revise that. And the main reason being is that when we're looking at these liquidation levels, it shows us something interesting. So let's first of all just refresh this. And by the way, Kingfisher has the worst UI I've ever seen of any website. It's just horrendous. Now, first of all, we can see a whole lot of imbalances here. There are far more buy orders here than there are shorts. Hello?
Siam,
Yo.
Could you just quickly explain what we're looking at? Because I don't really understand.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so first of all, can I expand this, make it a bit bigger? Yeah. Okay, that actually didn't really expand it. Just put it into an iframe pop-up. Right. So first of all, this green line here is the current price. So it's saying Bitcoin is 17,428. Now, as a rule, I would always double check this, because even though I just pressed latest, there was a time where I was looking at, I didn't click it and the price had moved quite a lot. Now it won't make too much of a big deal, but yeah, 17,500, 17, yeah, thereabouts. Nice little rally on the at the moment. So that's where the current price is. Now, what these spikes are showing are liquidation levels. So this is using or leverage. So as you can see here, so Bitcoin against Tether, and these are liquidation levels. So anything left of the price means that these are liquidation levels for people going long. Anything right of the price is liquidation levels for people going short. Okay, so what this means, and it sort of makes sense. If this is the price and people are going to get stopped out over here, well, that means that these people are going long. And hell, you can just hover your mouse over it. It says liquidation cluster, accumulated longs, etc. So yeah, and this figure over here, these clusters. So what it's showing us is that around the $14,000 level, we have a huge liquidation cluster. As in, if price hits 14,000 or around this area, loads of people going long are going to get liquidated. And it also means if Bitcoin gets back to say 2,500, between 20 to 2,500, loads of people going short are going to get destroyed. Now, so that's what that means. Now, in terms of these coloured bits, so if we look at all this green mountain, it's basically showing the accumulated shorts in terms of being liquidated. So, for example, it means the whole market is heavily short against Bitcoin right now. So by the time it gets over here, there's going to be accumulated 1.3 billion. Yeah, that's 1387 million. So $1.3 billion worth of short that would have been liquidated if Bitcoin gets to say 23,500, or if if Bitcoin spikes up to say, I don't know, 30,000, there's going to be roughly $2.5 billion worth of shorts burned out. Whereas over here, what's the liquidation cluster? If we hover it just at 14, that means there's only 787 million people that have gone worth of longs that would have been liquidated. So this imbalance here says everyone is being short right now. Now, what this also means, in fact, I'm going to take a little screenshot so I can doodle. Wrong one. Let's just do it this way. Let's put it on here. Let's go right. Where's my pen? Right. So this basically, another way to look at these liquidation levels is that we have basically nothing between here and here. So let's say between 20k, let's have so 20k and I don't know, let's call it 16. We're in a bit of a no man's land where there's not really many liquidation points, and technically it means that we could actually see a bit of ranging. So in the market of Bitcoin, we could have a bit of a range. So if we get the chart back up and go to Bitcoin 16 to 20, so if we get onto the daily chart, let's get rid of some of these little lines. It means that we could see, where's 16? It's pretty much where it pivoted to 20 up to here. So we could see noise potentially between that area there. Yeah, so that's potentially what it means. However, going back to these little spikes here, what it doesn't mean is that once the price gets to 14,000, the market's then going to V-reversal. In fact, it means quite the opposite. So let's say, for whatever reason, price starts moving this way, okay? And then I need a yellow pen, will probably be easier. If price starts moving this way, and then it takes out this cluster here, right? Remember, everyone over here is long. So if you're long and your liquidation level is hit, what happens to your order? It means that your long position, you've basically bought, right? And if you're liquidated when long, it means you have to sell your position. So this means shitloads of long trades are now being sold. So what happens? If there's a lot of people being forced sellers here, that adds more buoyancy or negative buoyancy to the price. Therefore, it's likely to continue pushing the price down until you hit the next cluster. Then all of a sudden, you've got this big wall of liquidation points here. So actually, what tends to happen is you creep up to this bit here. So creep, and then you zoom past the liquidation point because loads of people are having to be forced sellers. You then zoom into an even bigger cluster of sells. And guess what? You have all of these long positions being destroyed. So what we can actually end up having, if we hover our mouse over here, is that up until this point here, there's just under $1 billion, there's $750 million worth of sell orders being triggered at 14k, or on the way to 14k, which then means you have basically, let's call it 750 million worth of sell orders. Now, quick question. If that happens all in one go, those trades, by the way, when you're liquidated, they don't go in it as a limit order, they go in it as a market order. It's horrendous, right? So, quick question. Once these are all liquidated, will the price slowly go left, or will it just elephant stampede left?
Elephant stampede.
Correct, Chris. Elephant stampede, herd of buffalo, I know, a flock of lemmings running off a cliff, whatever visual analogy you want to put in your head. So so what this means is having almost $1 billion worth of sell orders hit Binance. By the way, this is just Binance I'm looking at. I'm not looking at all the other exchanges. This is just Binance, which is the biggest retail one. It's going to stampede the price to the left. And at this point here, from, I guess, looking at this from here to here, what is this? I don't think there's too much in the way of extra. So from this point here, that's what, 778 million up to here. Oh, okay. So from 14k to 11, there's basically another 250 million worth of sell orders. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but also this is like Christmas come early. you sort of hope this happens so that we have a spike down to what, like 8k, and it will be short-lived, right? Once all of these, let's call it $1 billion worth of sell orders plunges the market down, what happens? All the selling is stopped. Or then you have a world of dry powder coming in to buy in. I've actually spent a lot more time on Twitter recently now that Elon's taking it over and he's making changes and blah blah blah. Which, on an aside, I actually think the user experience is much better on Twitter at the moment. But I've got to feel like every single person under the sun is aiming to buy Bitcoin at 13, 14k right now. I mean, these are levels we've been talking about in here on RT for a long time. I'm now thinking, yeah, it's going to happen, but as in we'll get to 13, 14k, but we're going to have an elephant stampede past 13k. Because what will retail do? They'll buy the dip and lever up, won't they? Hell, even I have taught us to buy the dip and borrow the dip, right? But you have to be very careful with how you do that. What the average degen is going to do is they'll buy the dip and then they'll go long Bitcoin, 100x leverage. If they go 100x leverage or whatever, where are all their stop losses going to be? If a big old, Giga Chad comes in and starts shorting here with crazy leverage, their liquidation level all of a sudden is going to be here. I reckon there's going to be a big cluster of liquidation levels around 12k. Remember, this is a moving map. It's not fixed. Every day this will change. In fact, if we look at this little cluster here has actually moved left a bit, hasn't it? I don't know if you remember the first picture I posted a few days ago, but this cluster of stuff is moving left as the price comes down. Why is that? Because people that have gone long are going, oh shit, I need to have a bit more breathing room here. So they add more collateral, they move their stop losses down, blah, blah, blah. So this will shift left as time goes left. As the price goes left. Therefore, if people start going, 100x leverage long around 13, 14k, thinking this is it, I'm going to go long from 13k to back to 100, Mother Market will like to humble those people. And guess what? They'll be taken out because all their liquidation points will be, 10 to 12k. That will get hunted like crazy. Don't forget, BlackRock still wants to open up its Bitcoin spot ETF. They're going to have to buy the Bitcoin somewhere. Would they rather buy it at 20k or 10k or 8k? Everything I've said is literally happening. Therefore, I personally would be happy with your first entry buy at 13 to 14k, but I'm not going to blow my load at that level. I want to have space in the gun, more rounds in the chamber, just in case we have that pivot load down to 7k. So if we look at Bitcoin again, let's go to Bitstamp. BTC USD. It's one which has a bit of. Go to the weekly chart. Nope, sorry, let's find another one. I don't want to delete my drawings just yet. Coinbase, this one. Right. So, this is the weekly chart on Bitcoin. Can anyone see any really important support levels here? Here is another super duper strong support level at 6k. Yeah. Personally, where's November? This is the weekly chart. Jesus. See, I still think we're going to have some sort of cycle low by the end of this month. Well, that's quite scary, don't you think? If I'm correct, we're basically looking. I would not be surprised to see markets absolutely spike down to this sort of 8, 9, 10 level, and for it to be a spike down. But again, if you're buying in here just before the Gandalf level at 12k, then you still pat yourself on the back. Just don't go levered long, okay? Remember, the time to go levered long is when we're definitely confirmed out of the bull market and we've had a nice bottoming pattern for a while. And like in 2018, you start going levered long when we're on the upside over here, not here. because you're going to be underwater for a bit of time or having to pay borrowing fees, etc. So I would just be very careful about that. Tim, does that explain this liquidation chart a bit better? What have I missed, which doesn't make sense?
I think so for the time being.
Sam, can I ask a question? It's Harry. So looking at this chart, I mean, looking at it on such a longer time frame, isn't that necessarily a bad thing? One of two reasons. One, not every retail person is going to sit there and actually wait till his liquidation level is going to be hit. So we will close out at a loss. So those candles will condense. But also, are we not forgetting potential market makers here? So the people that are taking on the other side of these positions, if you know, on the way down, they're going to be placing longs that they're wanting to fill when the shorts are taken out. So once you, as you say, that spike is hit, are there not a lot of longs that are going to then push, you know, balance that price out for other people taking it? It's not going to create that cascade.
We don't know. We do know there's a lot of dry powder, loads of stables just sat there on the sidelines at the moment. So that's there. But the thing is, are they going to be... I mean, remember, this screenshot here was just Binance, right? So $1 billion worth of shorts, effectively, in this area. Are there going to be $1 billion worth of buy orders? Yeah, quite possibly, actually. So yeah, it could it could hover out. When you account for all the main exchanges, lol, FTX, in fact, it doesn't give us too much. I think this gives us I'm unsure whether the left-hand scale is amount of Bitcoin or millions of dollars. I'm unsure. Sorry, I don't know. But we can have it. 1 second. Let's just getting my calculator out here. Times. Okay, I think it's not the amount of Bitcoin, I don't believe. But either way, yeah, you're correct. It's one of two things, but it's still a real possibility. So
I mean, I know. Sorry to interject. Like when we did the time thing back in beginning of the year, that was causing the cascade when the liquidations hit because there wasn't really a market for it, but just because of the order books and the strength of BTC, whether that be maybe not over the counter because they don't really count in the order books, but it is the most tradable asset that there is. It always feels like there's something to be filled. So yes, it could still go lower, but just to immediately jump from 13 to 10 because of the shorts, I mean, we'll have to wait and see if it happens, but I'd love to hear your point.
I think I am leaning much more towards the spike down. I see where you're coming from, but yes, there's going to be billions of buy orders, right? But to have, in that 14K, this little cluster over here, to have, because by the way, when it comes into this level, it's going to be fast. It's not going to, it will not creep into this level. It will be fast into this level, right? You then have basically 750 millions worth of sell orders at market. And there will not be that amount of buy orders like that. And so if you ever try and sell a huge amount of stuff on Binance or any exchange for that matter, and you foolishly clicked 100% sell at market, what happens to the price of the order book? You literally gobble up at that second every price all the way down. Oh, sorry, on the way up when you're looking at that order book, and you can get slipped big time. And I've done it accidentally in the past where I'm just going to make up numbers, right? Just making up numbers. You'll tend to have, so you have the red stuff over here. You have the green stuff down here, like any other. Oh dear Lord, come on, green. Right, and then you have the price in the middle. So let's just say it's Bitcoin. Or no, like some other. Oh no, let's just say Bitcoin is 20,000. Okay, that's the current price. All the red stuff here, there's amounts of Bitcoin, and there's 2 Bitcoin being sold at this price, etc. Right, and then there are a whole bunch of lines. You've probably seen this, and then down here, vice versa. So remember, you have to look at the opposite color of what you want to do. So if I want to sell, if this person here wants to sell I don't know, 750 million dollars worth of Bitcoin, I have to look with my eyes at this over here. Because if I'm selling 750, it means you need to sell it to someone who's going to buy it. Now, on that green list over here, there's going to be, you know, X amount being sold. But remember, I want to sell it at the highest price possible, but this will go down. So it'll be like 19,999. There's X amount of Bitcoin being sold over here. The next price is 998, etc., etc. Now, I'm over exaggerating the point just to make the point here. If I try and sell $750 million at market, the order book, the automatic order book in Binance or any exchange will go, holy shit. It will literally look down this list and it will go, right, what is that for? Let's say 750 million, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, divided by 14,000. Let's just say it's that price. The order book is now trying to find 53,571 Bitcoin to sell to you. And above, you know, when you're looking above the fold here, you know, that, like when you're looking at Binance, you don't see that much at certain levels. And so what it's going to do is it go, okay, you're going to sell that at market. I will give you every Bitcoin I can find you. You'll then gobble up the whole order book, and before you know it, you've mainly got filled at people, you know, at 15,000 or whatever, because the Binance is trying to give you 53,000 Bitcoin in that split second. Massive over exaggeration, obviously. But when I was playing around with the DeFi stuff in 2021, you know, where the liquidity was low, there were times where even my stash would. I remember at Midas DAO, actually. I remember, in fact, this is the one thing I do remember with clear clarity, is I personally tried to save Midas DAO as much as I could. So if we look at here we go, Midas DAO, I don't know, USDC. I remember there was a support level. I tweeted it out. It will be on my tweets. I promise you this. Where is it? June 22. Ah, god damn it.
I think we can remember it actually. I think it was a big thing at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah. What happened? This isn't the chart, but basically, I had got a big position into Midas DAO. It was going up, whatever. And I drew this support level, right? In fact, I put it in their Discord as well. And there's this big old support level, and the market started falling down towards this. And I had a pretty big stash. And I was like, oh shit, if we have a base support breach, it's game over. And plus, I'd already told everyone, if base support breaches, I'm getting out. And so what I did, I saw the liquidity. I was like, right, putting in a big buy order in Midas, we mustn't let this breach support happen or whatever. And I did another big chunky buy over here. Now, I forgot what the price is. Let's just say it was 10 or whatever. For me to put in that big chunky, I don't know, $250,000 order in, I got slipped big time, like bet to the tune of 20%. So yes, I was buying it. I wanted to buy it at 10. I actually got slipped in at, you know, negatively slipped at 12. So I basically took a 20% haircut off the bat. And yes, I did temporarily make the market go back up again. But I remember clear as day that I was like, Jesus Christ, I've just wasted 20% slippage trying to, you know, protect Midas holders at the time, only for them to all turn on me later on when I did an event and when I tried to do an OTC deal. And that's why when the market was breaching and it breached base support, I knew that if I sold, you know, $500,000 worth of Midas DAO at market, what would I have done to the price? So doing a 250k buy-in over here, I got slipped 20%. And the price, you know, moved a bit. If I was to sell 500k whilst it's going down, it would have gone from 10 down to 2 or whatever. That's why I reached out to the Midas team to say, hey, can we do an OTC deal? Then they agreed, and they fannied about for 2 days, and then eventually they honoured it after I called them out on it. But anyway, long story short. So going back to the points, here we go. Yeah, I actually, going back to this bit here, I think it's more likely we'll see a spike down and then a quick recovery. So, oh, by the way, we're on point 3. We've got 17 points to do.